quick. So we glued this up, and last time we showed you or told you how we were gonna do the gluing, and I just wanted to show you how it is set up on the jig here. And you can see I got the 2x4. I have the last piece of wood set in 1.5 inches on one side, and the same thing on the other side. And then we have the whole middle braced up. And basically, what I do is I put it in the jig here, and we clamp it down in those areas like I showed you where we marked to create the curve. Once I put these two in place, well, first off, before I continue on with this, what I do is I take a ruler and I measure the dip at the point of where we have it clamped down. The dip, how many inches it is off the top of the bench on both sides. That way, I know we're gonna have the same curve. Once I have that set up, I go back in and I start putting all these extra clamps in to make sure that we're not, because we're doing bends, so the board's going to want to pull away in certain spots. So I looked at it, I looked at all the hot spots, and I put supplementary clamps to make sure that the wood wouldn't separate, especially here on the end, because this top piece is going to want to lift from this one when you clamp it down. So we're just going to take this all apart right now, and I'm going to I'm going to set you back up here on the tripod. And I'll take this out and show you what it looks like. Can't stress enough how much these quick grip ones are so much better, because this is downright terrible with the C-clamp style. How easy that was. It took me 5 minutes to get the other one off. Now you're gonna have some plastic stuff to it. Like I said, the glue's gonna drip. Okay, and there we go. And you can see we got the bends in there. And you'll have basically your the beginning form of what the bow's going to be like. I might have actually put a little bit more in here than I wanted to, but again, you can see here we had that staircase effect because of the pieces all being a little bit different size. And like I told you, see, if you put too much glue, you want it to squeeze out a little bit here. It's important to have a good seal more than anything. For me, I'd rather them work better than look nicer. If you're building the bow for show, then obviously you're gonna want to be a little bit more sparing with the glue and so on and so forth. So now this is basic. And you'll see it has some flexibility right now, but it'll start becoming more flexible. This is pretty thick for a limb with these 3 pieces of wood. I'm going to start by blending everything in and getting this rounded, and we're going to start removing a lot of material. And, just like any other bow, it's going to be thinner on the edge, and you've already got that somewhat accomplished by this staircase effect right here, but you're going to really remove a lot more from here, and then gradually start taking off less as you move your way to the back. Um, and also the next time we film here, I'm going to have cut out my um, my handle. And basically, all I'm going to do is I want to have the handle kind of as centered as possible. It's gonna prevent limb torque. Um, and you want the shelf to be deep enough, but not so deep that you're ruining the integrity of here. Um, we're also gonna add another piece of wood here, and possibly on this side. I'm probably, depending on how big the handle is, if I have a big enough antler shed, I'll probably use an elk shed, and I'll make the back part of the handle, an elk horn, just kind of give it a little style, and we'll probably use elk horn tips, um, so that one for strength, because then once you start shaving down here, this tip is going to get kind of weak, but the other is again for some aesthetics and stuff. So that's what the roughed in bow looks like after you've had the laminate pieces glued together. And mine seemed to move a little bit when I glued it. I was kind of in a rush. So I'm going to have to get a little bit more aggressive with my sanding, because this last laminate piece, and I don't know if you can see that or not, kind of shifted over to this side a little bit. So now I'm going to have to shave a little bit more off of this side before I start doing my beveling. Um, in the long run, that might affect some accuracy. Unfortunately, it is what it is, because once this stuff is glued together, it's not coming apart. Well, not easily anyway. You might as well start off with a whole new setup here. Anyway, well, stay tuned, and we'll get you to the next step.